Rejection is redirection. A job loss or a layoff, or what we're going to call rejection here, is actually redirection. And sometimes we don't know that we need to be redirected. So this actually could be a fantastic opportunity for you to redirect yourself. You get to choose now where we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bold Hearted. I am Sabahat. I want to start off with giving you guys a massive thank you. Thank you to every single one of you that helped me have a successful launch of Bold Hearted. Now, when I launched this podcast, I sort of had in my head an arbitrary number, right? Saying, this is my goal, this is my objective of how many listens and downloads I want to hit over the course of a month. And I'm actually blown away because I hit that number within 3 days. I know, I could not believe it. I really thought I was going to need at least a month to hit those number of downloads and listens. So I am so grateful to every single one of you for listening, for bearing with me, and for rating it on Spotify. Thank you for doing that, especially because we are such a new podcast. We don't have the resources for the really big, awesome podcasts like Diary of a CEO, Mel Robbins podcast, etc. yet. So your support right now means the absolute world. Also, something to remember on that same note is that we are a work in progress, right? We're just learning, we're just starting. So would love to hear if you have any constructive criticism or feedback. But otherwise, I wanted to send you so much gratitude for supporting me on this journey and allowing me to bring you really fun, cool episodes, some great conversations for the Bold Hearted. So with that being said, let's get into this week's episode. Okay, one more thing before we get into it is that I have a newsletter now. So go ahead into the show notes and click on the link and subscribe to the newsletter. And I will only email you when there is a new episode coming up. So you'll be notified of it right away. And you'll also get the resources that I mentioned in the episodes when I do so. So yes, now let's get into the episode. Professional or career setbacks. If you've ever been affected by a layoff or being let go at your job, you know what I'm talking about. And these professional or career setbacks can come out of nowhere. Sometimes you might see them happen for months. Like if it's a layoff that's been looming on the horizon for a while, you might see it coming, but many a time you still can't really prepare yourself. If it does happen, it hurts. It feels like a gut punch. It feels like the wind just got taken out of you. And it feels like rejection. It feels sometimes catastrophic. Most of the time, it feels undeserved. And why is this happening to me? Many people go through layoffs or get laid off after having been at a company for 8 years, 10 years. So it feels like a blow to their loyalty, their ego, all kinds of things, right? So a lot of complex emotions can come up during this time. And I want to first of all acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that if you have gone through a professional setback or a career setback, it hurts, and that is completely normal. You might be feeling feelings of betrayal, of why me, of like being a victim, hopelessness. It is not a fun place to be at. And I wanted to make this episode just for that because I have been through career setbacks more than once, and every single time it did not feel good. So I just want to tell you that I've been there with you. Okay, you are not alone, number one, because so many people have had this happen to them. That's number one, you're not alone. And number two, there is nothing wrong with you. I will repeat that. There is nothing wrong with you. Oftentimes, job and career and professional setbacks happen. And when these layoffs happen or people are let go, or companies make these decisions, there is a multitude of factors which results in this. And it's not only because they were like, hey, there's something wrong with you, so see you later, right? There is not. There is so many factors playing in. We all know, we've all worked for companies that have a million layers of organizational layers, budgeting layers, decision layers, all of that, right? So anytime a decision like that is made and somebody is let go or laid off, it's not simply because there was something wrong with you, okay? There were probably multiple factors at play. Great. Now moving on. Now that we've established that it hurts, it does not feel good, it was because, there's so many factors at play. Now let's talk about, well, Sabahat, what do we do about it? Now that I've been laid off and it's been a month, what do I do about it? Right? So let's get into that. I want to share with you a few things, a few steps that have helped me in the past that I've advised other people. So they're not coming out of nowhere. I have myself used these as well to move through a time of career uncertainty and career setback. So let's get into it. The first thing is allow yourself to process this. Allow yourself to process what just happened. I've seen way too many people just jump into panic mode immediately. I have seen too many people say, well, I was laid off or I was let go, so I'm now going to jump right into the job search. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Indeed and LinkedIn and looking for jobs and applying for jobs. I'm going to send out all these job applications and can't take a break. If you are doing that, or if you're thinking you have to do that, stop. Take a breath. I need you to allow yourself the time to process this. This can be traumatic for a lot of people. There's some real trauma in here, and you can't just glaze over that or brush it off. This is a big deal. And whenever it is a big deal, there is feelings of loss, betrayal, all of those things happening. You need to be kinder to yourself and pause for a moment, allow yourself to process what just happened. And this means take your time here. Part of that is also taking stock of what went wrong in this role. Was it something that was in your control or not? Did you see it coming or not? If you saw it coming, then maybe think about, could you have done something about it? If you knew a mass layoff was coming at your company and your whole department was going to be shut down and you knew it 6 months ago, was there a reason why you didn't think of, okay, can I change departments in the company? If I want to stay within the company, let me start putting feelers out, start having informational interviews within my industry, within my network. What went wrong here, right? And were there any red flags that you ignored? If so, what were they? What were the red flags? What were the warnings? And it's so important to take stock of all this because that is data that we'll take later on to our next job. Okay, so first of all, this is just data gathering exercise that we're doing to see what went wrong. Now, after we've gathered data, we also want to sort of sit and process this event that just happened. Now, your brain is processing a trauma. So if your brain is processing a trauma, moving past it very, very quickly can actually be detrimental, and it won't allow you to really show up on the other side as your best self. Research suggests when we go through some kind of trauma, the best way to move past it and come out healthier on the other side is to actually feel the trauma that's happening. It's like, okay, this is what's happening. I understand now. Let's feel it so that we can rewrite the story later on. If you don't feel through the trauma and you shove it aside and jump right into getting a new job, and oh my God, what just happened? Doesn't matter. I'm going to ignore what just happened and get a new job. Then what happens is you don't address the trauma. And when we don't address the trauma, it comes back in unexpected ways, unexpected times. And the fact that your self-esteem has been hit and you are feeling betrayed will come back another time in another future job. And that is not what we want, right? So allow yourself enough time to process this event that just happened to you. Step number 2, separate yourself from this event. What I mean by that is when something like this happens to you, it is so easy to get these thoughts of, there is something wrong with me. Why did this happen to me? Did I fail somebody? Did I suck at my job? Did I not do a great job? Did I let this person down? Oh, Bob is still employed, but I'm not. This is horrendous, right? It's so easy to jump into this victim mindset. And when you jump into this victim mindset, you have now made this job loss or this job your identity. And newsflash, your job is not your identity. And I talk about this a lot. I've talked about this in my LinkedIn in the past. I'll try to find that post and repost it. But your job is a part of who you are. Your career is part of who you are. But that is not the entirety of your identity. You are a friend, a sister, a wife, a brother, a neighbor, a community member. You are so many things, and your job title is one of many. Your job title is absolutely not your full identity, even though sometimes it can feel like that, right? Sometimes it can feel like that, but I want to remind you that that is not everything you are. Heck, that is not even half of what you are. You are so many things. So I want you to take a real good look at everything that you are and realize that your job is just one part of your identity. And if you are not sure how to do that, then make a list, grab a pen and a paper, make a list of all the things that you are. Are you a member of the parent-teacher association at your kid's school? Are you a member of the condo board at your building? Are you a member of your church? Are you a great friend in your friend circle? Are you a wonderful husband? Are you a great sister? You are so many things, and your job title is just one of them. So don't forget that. Number 3. So now that this event has happened to you, I need you to recognize one thing. Rejection is redirection. A job loss or a layoff, or what we're going to call rejection here, is actually redirection. And sometimes we don't know that we need to be redirected. So this actually could be a fantastic opportunity for you to redirect yourself. You get to choose now where we go. So many times in our lives, so often in our lives, we are on a train. And this is another analogy or a metaphor that I'll give you. We are on a train. We got on at a station a while ago, and we haven't gotten off. We thought we're going to get off in 3-4 stations maybe, and we haven't. We're like, well, I'm getting kind of comfortable. And then now 6, 7, 8 stations have gone by, and now you're like, well, the train is going somewhere. I think it should be fine. I think I trust the train conductor and the train driver. And you're just on that train, and you've sort of lost your own sight and your own direction as to where you were going, because you've gotten on the train and you've just sat there. And this applies to your career as well. Sometimes we get in one industry or one company and we stay there for a long time. We don't really improve ourselves. We don't really try another industry. We don't really sharpen ourselves, our toolkit, build on our talents and our skills. We don't really do that because we're like, well, this is comfortable. This is fine. And then when something like this happens, it jolts you awake and you think, whoa, but this actually is a fantastic opportunity for you to pause, take stock of, okay, so now that I'm off this train and I'm in this new stations, where am I? Where do I want to go? So this is a fantastic opportunity for you to now redirect yourself, choose a new direction if you want, or you know what, if you want to stay on this train, you want to get back on, that's fine too. But at least now you have a choice. You have a choice because the universe has given this to you, has forced this upon you to be like, okay, hold up. Take a breather. Is this where you are going? Are you sure? Confirm yes or no. That is step 3, is that this rejection is your redirection, and this can help you or force you to choose which direction you now want to go. And in fact, to do that, there's so many ways of doing this. You can sit down and think, okay, what sort of industries do I want to look at? If you want to make a change, right? You can think of what kind of roles do I want to look at? Can I try for something else? Do I want to just level up in this role? You can work with a career coach. You can work with a friend, a trusted friend, an ex-colleague, an ex-boss, if you're still being in good contact and trusted relationship with them. There's many ways to do this. But the point here is that this break allows you the opportunity to intentionally think about which way you want to go. Finally, number 4 is creating a new narrative. So when you go through a job loss or a layoff, undoubtedly, your self-esteem takes a big hit. So it is up to you to sort of build your self-esteem back up, because right now the narrative that's playing in your head is that I'm not good enough. Why did this happen to me? Something's wrong with me. So now you have to build your self-esteem back up by creating a new narrative. Once again, there's many ways of doing it depending on how you are feeling. You can work with a coach, a career coach. You can work with a therapist if it's a really big jolt to you and you're feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of really not great things. It might be worth to talk to a therapist. It might be worth talking to a career coach to get better clarity. Also helpful to talk to friends and trusted confidants and ex-colleagues. For example, when I had gone through a layoff in the past, I found a lot of comfort speaking to some ex-colleagues because they helped me realize or helped me remember that I was actually a wonderful person to have on a team. And I've had people saying, oh, you're my favorite coworker. Oh, you are my favorite person that I worked with. I'm so upset that you're leaving, right? Having those conversations are really helpful to build your self-esteem back up, to know that, no, there is not something wrong with you. And look, I'll be the first person to tell you that validation always comes from an internal place and not from external sources or from other people. But in some cases, such as this, it's kind of like how the Beatles said, you get by with a little help from your friends. So tap into that. Another thing to do is, once again, grab that piece of paper, make a list of some awesome things that you have achieved. Whether it's in your job, outside of your job, make a list of them all. And you might think, I haven't done anything. Yes, you have. You have done amazing things, and I'm certain, I'm not even sure who you are right now, who's listening, but I can bet you have done amazing things that you're not even remembering right now. And I actually have a really funny example about this. A few months ago, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and we were talking about some professional highlights over the last couple of years, and he just reminded me that I had hosted, organized, and chaired this big industry conference 2 years ago that I had completely forgotten about when we were talking. I totally forgot that not only had I chaired it the day of, I had organized it, worked with an event management company, sold tickets, over 200 people, had a keynote speaker, all the bells and whistles that's required for a proper conference. I had done all that with a team, of course, but I had totally forgotten that I had done that over the last 2 years. And it's a pretty impressive accomplishment, a pretty impressive thing that I had done. But in that moment, I couldn't remember. And similarly, you might not be remembering some really awesome things that you have done, that you have accomplished. Because sometimes some of us have the tendency to downplay some pretty cool things we've done. So ask some trusted friends, ask your partner, ask your colleague, have them jog your memory, because sometimes they might remember something that you have done that really impressed them that you might not be remembering. And then once you start making that list, you're going to start remembering more things. Keep making that list, and then soon you'll see that, oh, I'm actually a pretty amazing employee or a great worker or just a great individual. And when you do that, start looking at that list often. Start looking at that list often and start telling yourself this, that I'm an asset. I'm irreplaceable. I am a wonderful addition to a team. If you're a marketing consultant, you can say, I am the best marketing consultant there is, right? Tell yourself that. And because now you have data to back it up. Don't downplay your wins. We have this habit. Many women, actually more than other people, in fact, we downplay our wins. And I want you to get into the habit of not downplaying them. I want you to get into a habit of owning your wins. If that means writing them down so you remember them, if that means telling your friend that, hey girls, guess what happened? This is what happened at work, and have them cheer on you and have them celebrate you, and you just accepting it, so be it. But start owning your wins. Remember, you are making a database of your wins, of your achievements, of the great things that you've done. Sometimes it's not even a tangible thing. It could just be that you helped your coworker through a tough time that they were experiencing at some point. And that is still massive because that makes you a valuable team player. Remember all the things, write down all the things and start reading them and start telling yourself that you are a fantastic asset to a team. And this is just a redirection in your life. Start telling yourself these things, and slowly you will see that you will build your self-esteem back up. You will start now rewriting that script and creating a new narrative saying, I am a fantastic marketing consultant. I have all these great wins. Look at all these amazing things that I did at my last jobs. And this is a fantastic opportunity for me to now see where I'm going to go with my life, where I'm going to take my career, because the next place I'm going to join, woof, that's going to be amazing. Now, to wrap it all up, I want to remind you that we're all going through this human experience at different times. Okay, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and we're all going through it. So if you are going through a layoff or a job loss, then I hope this episode helped you remember that you are much more than your job, and your identity is much more than that. And you are an incredible, thriving human being with so much to offer the world. And this does not define you. And I hope you also got some tangible tips on how to navigate this very special part of your life and part of your life journey. And if you look at it that way, then you can make this season of your life the best season yet, despite what it looks like.